Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. Just took a look at what I believe was KC Tool Haul number 14. That would make this one number 15 if the math is correct. This one not near to the caliber of that one. That one was a pretty big ticket item with tons and tons of tools coming in for us. This one just kind of more down to earth and basically necessitated once again by the tool of the day. So before we get started here, of course, we didn't hit any thresholds aside from free shipping. That's just fine. Still the same spring flyer from Vera. I'm telling you what. Let's see here. The bit on this one, if you think, hey, you know, didn't I just remember you getting that one? You did, and that's because we got it. It says VHA 74142. This is their number 2 by 50mm Phillips Dura power bit. Style 23 or 24 from what KC Tool offers, and I would typically be bummed out about getting a duplicate. However, this is a number 2 we can use in our impact, and I'll use the snot out of it. So there they are, back to back number 23s. Of course, if you've got any that we don't have listed, feel free to provide them. We will give you credit. Everybody will know what they can look forward to if they complete the entire set. Now, right here, as papers go cascading in the breeze of the fan trying to offset the 98-degree heat, this was the tool of the day, and would probably not have placed an order at all if this wouldn't have popped up. Would have just waited. But it came live, and I thought, you know what? We're going for it. This is from Heyco. You'll remember we brought in 2 items from them, sort of like that novelty keychain wrench size guide, if you will. And then their 10mm max line. I've used that thing and I really like it. It's currently in the trunk of the Challenger because that's what when I was taking the battery cables off and chasing some drains, it's just kind of stayed back there as I continue to work on it. But the profile of that, the weight, it's a really, really nice wrench. This is something I've wanted for an eternity, and they've always kind of been like, yeah, that's a lot of money for that thing. You know, I'm talking like $70 and more, depending on what brand you get. Even like at your discount stores, it's if you find one, which they are getting, I guess, kind of harder to find, they are quite expensive. This is a 3/8 drive. They call it a speed brace. I always kind of knew it as a speed handle. And some of you, if you're younger, might not have ever even seen one of these things. But where I always saw them, it was whenever guys were like priming the oil pump, which is something I have to do. I guess now everyone just uses a drill. But there's many times that I've thought, you know, if I had one of those speed handles, I could have gotten this cranked out quicker. So basically that's what it is. Your socket plugs in here to your 3/8 drive. Of course, they do have them in other sizes. You've got the grip there, and you've sort of just got the spinning handle. And so basically you can come up and you can just go to town, and as you might have guessed, this action right here, even as I slow it down for the camera, that is, let's go with the Stavilla. Handle meets the knife, right? That's 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, right? We just went around the clock. Now, I'm doing this slow. If I speed it up a little bit, we can go even faster. It kind of distorts and seams out. But what I'm getting at is if you were to turn a ratchet all the way around 12 to 12, that takes some time. This is significantly quicker, right? You wouldn't necessarily come in and torque this down, but when you're like, say, replacing an intake manifold or possibly valve covers, you can come in and you can use this with your socket, speed the bolt down real quick, like just seat it snug, and then come in and torque it down. At $15, I honestly could not pass that up. I've always wanted one. I'm going to use it, regardless of if people say I look stupid and I should just use an impact or a drill. But that's sort of the precursor, I guess. That's kind of like an old-fashioned power tool, if you will. So I was stoked to see that on Tool of the Day, and $15 was just, it's something you have to grab, in my opinion. So where did I set the box of tools? This is a problem. Ah, here we are. Right here. I guess what we will do now is jump in, and I will mention that Heyco wrench that I absolutely loved in 10mm. Well, we've got Stavilla. We don't have any Gedore wrenches per se. We also don't have any combination wrenches from Stavilla. Might be needing a 36mm soon, but truth be told, I might just go in and buy like a bigger pliers wrench. I think the 12s might handle it. I'm not 100% sure. But this is something I didn't have. Not in my Craftsman starter set, not in anything I'd acquired, not in ratcheting wrench sets, not in any wrench set. And that is a 7mm combination. Now you're probably like, well, what do you need that for? That's pretty small. Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. Bottom line, this is used on the underbody plastics on the Challenger. You've got 10mm stuff and 7mm stuff. The center belly pan that you would move pretty much every time you're underneath the car for just a basic oil change or service, 4 10mm bolts. And then this guy, when you remove the front plastic, sort of like your chin spoiler to the belly pan piece, it's 7mm. Now I've got the sockets, but it's such a small fastener, and the way it's seated in the plastic, it kind of makes it hard to use the socket sometimes. I thought, you know what, it'd kind of be cool to have a 7mm wrench to hit that. And this is from Hazet. I guess there's our sweet spot for you. The part number on this guy, HZ21, I'm sorry, don't go with that one. It'll spoil something. H0600N-S, it's 12-point combination wrench, 1044, a little expensive, but like I said, for whatever reason, almost every wrench set you can buy, keyword set, begins at 8mm. So just like when you hear me complain about, well, why doesn't SK's X-Frame offer 7/8 and 15/16? Those are common sizes I would use. It's the same thing when you come down to a certain point. I've never really run into it with SAE stuff, but with metric it seems like everything starts at 8, and I'm sure 7 is very, very seldom used, and they have good reason for it. But this is going to be pretty cool to have around and make use of. So it'll also give us somewhat of a feel for Hazet. Kind of hate that it's so small and kind of limited use, but we will use it, and we can kind of see how we like it, how it holds up. Super slim. It's actually pretty strong. It feels like, based on what you feel and what you see, you would think I could just snap it and I might be able to bend it, but it's actually fairly strong for what it is. So kind of excited to have that little guy join the party, and we will, like I said, certainly make good use of him. Now, going along that line, since I started to rip this number off to you on accident, part number HZ2156. It's going to tie in with something that you see here. It's not the wrench, obviously. This is from Hazet. As I bring it down for you, it comes into focus. 2156 cable stripping knife. That's right. I told you we were going to go and we were just going to start sort of from the ground up and see what we get into. So, I know many of you are like, you have knives. Why didn't you cut it? Couldn't answer that. But this is sort of their offering, and I believe theirs was made in Germany. Let me check. Don't hold me to that. I want to say it was. I felt like somebody's was Spain and someone's was Italy, but we'll cross that bridge when we kind of direct compare these things. Part number stamped right there with 2156. Really like that. You could put a lanyard or something through it. It's kind of got the texture of the Stavilla one that we looked at last time. Is it stiff? I'd say it's nowhere near as stiff as Gedore. A little bit easier to work with than the Stavilla one, at least here initially. It takes the blade profile that we saw on the Gedore. It's got, I'd say, the blade cutout more akin to the Gedore unit, and it might be the lightest. Again, we're going to do kind of a comparison on these guys for you, but there you can kind of see the blade, the cable cutout. Man, it's just the lighting on that's kind of what's killing it. But Hazet 2156, rest assured, there it is. See that? That was a nice touch. So Hazet, interestingly enough, not branded anywhere here on the handle, like we saw with Stavilla. The Granite Gedore, they basically did nothing in terms of branding that thing. But off camera, when I was shutting and reopening those things, this one is a nightmare. Again, I'm sure we'll break it in, but the Stavilla, I could easily access that, pickup point, if you will, the finger notch. On the Gedore, it's recessed. It's kind of hard to grab it, in all honesty. Those are just initial impressions, but putting it side by side there, again, this is going to be a pretty sweet comparison because these are all so even. They're obviously all intended not necessarily as a pocket knife, that's what I will be using them for, but as cable knives, which is very, very, very similar, let's say. But nonetheless, I'm so happy that they're all kind of coming in and they're similar size, similar profile, similar makeup. It'll make the comparison more legitimate in my opinion. But like I said in the previous video, the plan is I'll run in, I'm going to use one for like a week at work. Hopefully remember to switch it out, try the other one, see what I like, what I don't like, if I cut myself, if there's any issues, if they're dull, if they get dull. And it'll just be through my mundane, trivial tasks I'm faced with at work every day. And ultimately we're going to see which one we like better. But there will be kind of a more thorough comparison coming. And if you're sitting there at home and you're thinking, okay, 15, 10, 20, does that get him the free freight? Because you know I preach about that. The answer is no, it would not. And the item that pushed me over, this is something I've wanted for a long time. And there's currently I mentioned in the previous one when we were sent these, that Gedore's got some pliers on sale, pretty big discounts right now. There's a 2-piece set. I think it's combination pliers and a side cutter, and it's like a really good price for Gedore's stuff. And if you don't buy it now and you look at it later, it's going to be like way, way, way high, and you're probably not going to buy it. I was about to pull the trigger on that, and I thought, you know what, I'm pretty sure I have those. And I did, and so what that left me with was still wanting the side cutter only, not necessarily the combination, sort of their power pliers. And so what we brought in, it is GR2910934. That is their 8314 180 JC side cutter, 180 millimeters in length for $21.73. That's a pretty good price for Gedore stuff. And to cut down the noise for you, there it is. It's still sort of obscured by the label intentionally, but when I told you that you could get these sort of like plain Jane nothing like this, or with their version of the comfort grip, this is Gedore's comfort grip, if you will. I personally really like it. However, I also like this color and the texture on it. It's very well done in my opinion. That said, I'm gonna bust these guys out. All right. Here they are. Nothing crazy, nothing too fancy. Now the comfort grip, like I mentioned in the previous video, it adds a significant bulk to these. So if it's a tight quarter space, you're trying to get this in a narrow area, particularly up at the top, these kind of come out like an insulated version. Sort of has like the safety edge guard type of thing incorporated. Really trick design, but it is significantly bulkier than a standard pair would be. They're very easy to articulate. I like the finish of these. There you can kind of see that's where you get maximum power according to them. Right there you can see the logo. Again, part number 8314180, and Gedore, made in Austria. If you've never tried their comfort grips, I would encourage you to do so. Whether you want combination pliers, side cutters, bring one in that's cheap. Possibly that's not in the length of the sets, because you do save a good chunk of money there. And if you like them, if they perform up to your standards and you're a fan of the grips, then go ahead and start trying to cash in on some of the sets while they're in sale, would be my personal opinion. But like I said, I'd wanted these for a long time. I kind of had them on my list, and then that 2-piece set, it's like 51 bucks, which is a pretty good price for their stuff. Again, coming in at roughly 25 a tool in that case. Had the side cutters, which I have actually. That was a video I meant to make a long time ago, kind of over their handle styles, but this I really do like. It matches the Mopar tin perfectly. Not that that's a huge deal, but it is a selling point, you got to admit. Can't lie about aesthetics, you know, people try to discount it, but there's a reason Snap-on offers stuff in multiple colors and charges more for it, right? Because people will pay it. It's important, it's fun, it's unique. If you're going to use something all day, every day, people will spend a little bit extra for something a little nicer, a little bit more in tune with their style. So I'll see how these hold up for me. I'll try to put them to good use, and we'll take it from there. But again, nothing near as comprehensive as we had last time, with like probably a 40 plus minute haul, which we were going the whole time to our credit. But this time around we brought in a 7mm Hazet wrench, which is adorably small, even smaller than these cable knives, which will be in my pocket. We got some Gedore side cutters. We got the Heyco speed brace, which I'm probably super geeked out about, and we got the Hazet cable knife, which again we'll cycle around, see how it stacks up with offerings from others, including our Klein that we've already got at work. And will there be more on the way? Who knows? You'll have to stay tuned for that. So that's it for this one. That's literally all I got. We got bit number 23 of 24. It's a number 2 Phillips, so all is good in the hood on that front. And with that said, I'm going to get to shutting up so I can get back to work on the car, drain, flush, repeat, and maybe chase those electrical gremlins in the back. But I hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment. Are you a fan of a speed brace? Have you never seen a speed brace? Do you use one? Would you never use one? If you have used Hazet's combination wrenches, what are your thoughts? I'm sure some of you metric super fans are going to come in and tell me why the 7mm is not included. I could frankly care less. I just know it's not, and I knew I needed one, so that's why it's here. If you have used Gedore side cutters, what are you thinking of them? How do you feel about their comfort grip? Again, you can see the difference in profiles there. It's pretty pretty significant, but the step down, I love the color here, and I've honestly gotten to where in some instances I do like the feel of just like the textured dipped handle. It kind of depends on what I'm doing and what the tool is, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that in my opinion. VHOZ is pretty good. It's kind of a little bit more aggressive, but that's another story for another day. By all means, if you've used any of this, let me know how it's holding up for you. If you love it, if you hate it, what we brought in, would you bring it in yourself? Would you never buy it? Feel free to let us know. If you're not already following along on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, make sure you do that. At Lone Star Mopars will get you where you need to go. I got to get some water, get back to work, but I will catch you back here for the next KC Tool Haul. Be on the lookout for our comparisons, shootouts, showdowns, whatever you want to call them. We're going to have a good time with all this stuff, see what holds up best for me, see if you agree or disagree, and ultimately, hopefully help people find something that they want without having to jump through a ton of hoops and spend a ton of money. They just go straight to what suits them best, hopefully. So, once again, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch y'all back here in the next one.